Hey everyone, can you see me? It's really great to see you all. I apologize for the delay. I'm so excited to have you all here. There's quite a number of you. My name is Jonathan. I'm here on the Lens Studio team at Snapchat. I have also my colleague here, Caitlin. Caitlin, if you want to say hi, actually give me 1 second. I've lost my mouth control. Okay, there we go. Caitlin, if you want to say hi.
Hey guys.
Glad to have you all join us. We're so excited. By the way, if you see me looking to my left every now and then, it's because the control panel is to my left. Um, and so I'm seeing your comment live in the chat. And I think there's a few other Snapchatters. If you want to say hi, there's also official lens creators. And feel free to say hi. And then Caitlin will talk a little bit about the official lens creator program around the middle of the call. I'm really glad to have you all here. We're so excited to have you join this Lensathon, this hackathon. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by just going through some of Lens Studio stuff to get us a baseline, the features Lens Studio has. And then I'll jump into the tool. There's a good number of you, so I don't know if I'll be able to help you. One, please ask in the live chat, and Caitlin will be able to help me out and tell me if there's a question, and I'll be happy to answer it. So we want to keep this kind of fluid, and let's just be together.
Want to add, I think that our
Sorry,
video,
Caitlin. Sorry, Caitlin. Do you mind saying that again?
yeah, I think our video is quite delayed to what we're saying, so we might just need to speak a little slower so that it catches up with the slide.
That's a great point. So let us also know if there's an AV trouble, or you're not seeing the slides, or you're not seeing what we think you should be seeing, or what you think we should be seeing. As you know, we're all in our separate offices today, or separate homes, and so we're live as well as with you. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Awesome. So Lens Studio is an amazing software designed specifically for AR. As you know, Snapchat has been making augmented reality lenses for quite a while. And in 2017, we opened up our tool for use with the public. And what's amazing is this tool is great for Mac and Windows. And when I say that it's designed specifically for AR, what that really means is that we're able to work for both Mac and Windows, Android and iOS. And design for AR means that we have a preview in Lens Studio itself. So as you're building your augmented reality experience, you don't have to take the guesswork of compiling and seeing how that works. As you're moving objects around the face, you can see it live on the face in real time. And so what's really cool is that we also take care of tracking, and we'll see things about that in a second. So if you're dragging an image in, just a regular 2D image, you'll be able to point it to the face, and it will be attached to the eye or the mouth, or you can drag in an image of your own to do marker tracking, and Lens Studio will take care of the computer vision, the algorithm, the AI, and it will do all of that for you. And so all you have to do is worry about your creativity, because that's what we really want to do. We want to unlock your creativity. And so if you see the scene here, it looks kind of familiar with some other software. It's using a component entity model. And because it's running on Snapchat, when you're deploying your augmented reality lenses, it'll work for many different phones, and you don't have to worry about different, whether it's a high-end phone or a low-end phone. Lens Studio will take care of that for you. And we also have our own shader system, and system you can make with Node Graph Editor, with a node-based editor. And what that allows you to do is basically code without coding. So there's a lot of different things in play, and you can play with audio and modify the voice. And we'll get to a lot of this in a couple seconds. And so I see that someone mentioned my audio is too low, so I'm going to go ahead and increase that. Let me know if that sounds good to everyone. And the best part, I think, about all of this, I think we all know that developing some software, one of the biggest challenges is to get people to download your software. And what's beautiful, and it turns out, if you create a Snapchat lens, you get access to the distribution of everyone that's using Snapchat lens. So what we're seeing in this slide is that if you were to scan a snapcode, and this is a trained behavior because snapcode has been around for a while. It's been in many products, it's been in many billboards and posters. People know to scan this snapcode to enter a digital experience, in this case, augmented reality. And so if you open Snapchat, scan this snapcode, it will open up the lens and you'll immediately be able to try it. Or if you're online, you'll also be able to just send someone a link, just like you would with any link. They can click on that link, and they would automatically ask them, hey, do you want to open Snapchat to try this augmented reality experience? Even better, we also have an Lenses Explorer within Snapchat. So there are a lot of people around the world who are already using augmented reality on Snapchat and lenses on Snapchat, and you can, and if you have Snapchat, there's a button and you can see all the other lenses and experiences that have been created by people such as yourself. And so what that means is you get access to these different ways of distribution. You're not worried about, hey, go download this augmented reality experience. Because the reality is that's a quick drop off, right? Like if you tell someone to download an app, the likelihood of them downloading the app and trying your experience is quite low, unless it's a click a button or scan a thing and you instantly get it, right? Or even if you're already in the app and you can try different things. So if I'm already playing around with some augmented reality experience, it's more likely for me to try another augmented reality experience. So that's something that we really like about what Snapchat and Lens Studio will allow you to do. And so in the slide, I just want to show really quickly some of the things that Lens Studio will give basically pretty instantly. So in the top left, you see eye color changing, and all you have to do is add, hey, I want to change the eye color, and you can switch the color to red, green, blue using a color picker. In the middle, you can see how you can modify the eye by using a liquefy type effect. And both of these are attached. This one is attached to the eye, but obviously you can move it around so you can liquefy your nose or your mouth. And we'll go through that in our demo. And then we have our face distortion effect. Because Snapchat and Lens Studio understands the face, all you have to do is move some points around. So in this case, I stretch at the bottom by moving the points down. And then we also have, with the same ability of looking at the eyes and the nose, we also have the ability to kind of copy and paste. So in this case, I've copied and pasted the nose several times over the face. And as you move the face, it will move with the face. So there's some creative flexibility here without even touching assets at all. But even better if now we start to add assets. So in the bottom left, you see me adding a picture, a 2D image. This is just a PNG, a JPEG, all the usual, even GIF and animated images or videos. It can apply to the face. And so here you can see as she blinks, the textures on the face move with her eye. In the second one, instead of applying to the face, we apply on top of the face. So in this case, we have a 2D glasses, and then moves with the face. And you can even add 3D objects. So, the usual GLTF, FBX, OBJ. You're able to bring that in. And as you move left and right, the 3D model will move left and right with you. And all of this, we have, and I'll get to this in the later slide, but we have physically based rendering, PBR. And as I mentioned earlier, you can even make your own shaders, so you can make things look the way that you want to. And finally, the last one here on the bottom right is one of the last the most recent feature we released, and something I really like. And what this allows you to do is it's called Face Mesh, and it does a 3D reconstruction of the user's face in a form. And you can see in some of the examples, the light and the reflection is actually curving to the user's face as it would in the real world. And so there's a lot of this creative flexibility that you can do. So I'm going to go to the next slide here. And so I just want to show really quickly how easy that whole experience was, right? And so I drag it to the image, and I have, similar to any other software, I can move things around, rotate it by just using my mouse. By using my mouse, I can move the points around the face to distort it, and it's happening in real time. I can copy and paste and resize things. And even better, because we, again, understand the face and that it's an important part of our experience, we have components like face retouch, which allows you to soften the skin or add teeth whitening, eye sharpening and eye whitening, and all these different features that can take your augmented reality experience to the next level. And you're not worried about how do I do that. It's more about how much do I want that. Will that help me tell my story? Will that make someone, on the other hand, feel the emotion that I want them to feel? So I'm going to go to the next slide. In addition to some of these augmented reality experiences, we also have classical computer vision that will help you build your lenses and AR experience. So in this case, segmentation, classically, this may be a bit hard. You got to figure out how to cut out the background. But here, you just choose the segmentation texture that comes with Lens Studio, and you choose from a drop-down what you want to cut out. So whether it be the portrait background, the hair, the shoulder, and all you have to do is supply the texture that you want to replace. So we'll go through some of that really quickly. And some of you may have already seen Snap Camera, our software that allows us to pipe lenses within the desktop, within a Mac or Windows application. And so this can be used to change your background or change your hair color. And actually, fun fact, the stream is actually running off Snap Camera. Because I am at home, I don't have a green screen. I'm using Snap Camera to give myself a green screen. And then I'm telling OBS to the streaming software to cut out the green screen. And so we can do many things with all these different approaches. So that's really cool. And in this slide, we just see some of the examples that people have been using. The face mesh here on the left, you can see the reflections coming off of the face. And you're also able to track the face with this effect, with the pointillism effect. And then you can also see there's a 3D model that is moving with the character's face, but we're making the eyes bigger so it fills the cat. And finally, you can see these flowers attached to the face. So we're really excited to see what you can come up with. And in this slide, we're taking a look at some of the other effects that maybe are different than the face. So we have other ways to instantly track the thing. So on the bottom left, you can see pet tracking. So we have cats and dog, and so we can attach eyes. And they'll know that this is a cat and a dog and not a person's face. So you can apply different effects to different pets or humans. We have skeleton tracking. So you can see here in the top right, you can see the joints are moving with the user as they move up and down. We also have shoulder tracking, so you can see we've attached some characters to the left and the right, and also at the top of the head. We have hand tracking, so you can move your hand left and right. This creature moves with it. And we have, as I mentioned earlier, marker tracking. So there's two different ways you can do this. You can use snapcode tracking, so that means like every snapcode in the world can be used as your snapcode, as your marker. To add 3D objects to, and this will understand scale because we know how big the marker is. We can say, hey, we want this creature to be 5 centimeter because we know that the object that you're tracking is 5 centimeter. So this is pretty good for product visualization or if you want to explain something in terms of scale to people. And we also have the ability to bring in your own marker. You can see that in the bottom right, where we just dropped an image in, and then we use the camera to create this effect where it kind of feels like it's falling through. And so here are some other examples of using non-face tracking. So here we build a portal. Lens Studio will have the ability to automatically use the native device tracking if you so choose to. And so in this case, we're dropping in to allow a portal experience so you can walk around the room as if you're in the digital room. We have this object that is just floating in space and reflecting the trees and the ground. And in the far right, you can see, you can also have a 3D animation that is moving around and track to the world. So as the camera is moving left and right, the object feels like it's really there. Some of you may have already seen this. We also have something called landmarkers. I apologize that these videos are not coming through as well. But this allows you to use different objects or different landmarks around the world as the canvas for your experience. And so, if you live near the Eiffel Tower, you can put an object attached to the Eiffel Tower, and whether you're looking at the Eiffel Tower from the left side or the right side, you'll be able to see the effect as you would in a digital world. It will actually understand that you're looking at the left side or the right side. And we're continuing to add these. I think we've released several of them before, and we're continuing to add them on our website. But things like the Gateway of India is also there, places in Egypt, places in Europe, places in America. So just all over the world, this can allow you to create an experience local to a specific place and landmark. So here's an example of how you might build one of these. You don't have to worry about how does it actually track the Eiffel Tower or the landmark that you have. All you have to do is see, hey, there's this proxy 3D model object, and I just move my character, flowers, and whatnot on that landmarker, and you'll be able to have that experience happen in the Eiffel Tower. And that's pretty cool. And so here are some other visual effects that you can do. And we'll go through this in a second. And I'll just start to trap through some of these. You can make material-based editors or write your own shaders. So in this case, we created a lava ball, and you can modify it and tune the lava ball. We have JavaScript engine that runs the whole thing, and with the built-in-script editor that allows you to do type ahead and even documentation on that script. Or on the APIs that you're using, you can, because it's running JavaScript, you can bring in your own JavaScript library. So if you use Tween.js or Oimo or Canon for physics, and we'll see that in a second. So here you can see you can build procedural mesh. You can create an experience where you create a billiard table because you can bring in your own physics. You can make games with high scores. And you can even make AR creation experience within AR. So that's pretty cool. And so, this is a tool out of your many toolbox. So if you're already using these different softwares and you already have MP3s, FBX, OBJ, JPEG, and so forth, all you have to do is drag them into Lens Studio and automatically be available for you to use in Lens Studio and in Snapchat lenses. There's a lot more things that we can't cover, and we're hoping that you come with this journey with us. Since you're already here, we have a YouTube channel. We cover a lot of these different features, and so you should take a look at some of the different videos to learn all the different things you can do to make a really cool experience. We have a slew of templates, just many. I think we're at 50, if not more now, where you can try out different effects where you can just drag and drop them in. So if you want to do hand tracking, you just drag and drop an object in and place it. Hey, I want to track the hand, and it can help you do that. Of course, we have the APIs and examples for every API. So if you're learning to script, this can help you there. And we also, as I mentioned, have shaders, and so we have examples for that as well. And so you can learn about shaders through Lens Studio. I mean, it's a visual program, right? Lenses are visual, so it's a great way to learn. We also now have a course, so feel free to take a look at that. It goes through several videos on how to use Lens Studio. We have different classes that we offer live, and then finally, we have some example projects that you can download on our forum. So you can see here, I'm tracking whether or not I'm doing a jumping jack using the skeleton tracking from earlier, or animating skeleton tracking, animating a 3D object using skeleton tracking. So that's it. That's the boilerplate. We're going to now get into the real demo. And I hope this all makes sense. And again, Caitlin, feel free to jump in if you feel like there should be a question that I'm answering. I'll Awesome.
Nope, I think you're all good. I think I realize I've been shown this whole time, and I hope I haven't been that distracting. So as you go into lens creation, which I want everybody to be able to see the screen, I'm just gonna pop back in as soon as we're ready to talk about the OLC program. So hopefully, I know I'm a little bit delayed, but hopefully you won't see me when you pop into Lens Studio.
That's a really great point, Kaylin. I apologize. I've hit the video for now, and then when she's going to present about the official Lens Creator, we'll go ahead and do that. So here's a spoiler alert. We're going to go through the official Lens Creator program. So I'm going to close out here. Oops, there we go. And I have Lens Studio here. And so when I'm going to minimize the screen so that's a bit easier to focus. And here's my snap camera that I mentioned earlier. Hi, everyone. Here's my green screen. So this is Lens Studio. When you first start Lens Studio, you see the screen, and we have this top bar where you can learn some of the new things that's happening in the community. And so what I'm going to start with is the Distort template, because it's one of my favorite templates because I don't need any software, but I'm able to, I don't need any assets. I can just play around with what Lens Studio has to offer. So when you first open Lens Studio, there are a couple different panels. On the left here, you have the Objects panel, and this represents all the things that you're using in your lens. In the Resources panel, this is kind of a library of like a bookshelf where you pick things out to put into your lens. You have the Scene panel that kind of describes how the scene is laid out in the lens. You have a logger, so when you're starting to script, or if you want to script, you have an information about what's going on. You don't actually need to script if you don't want to. And they have the Inspector panel. So if I select an object here on the Objects panel, you'll see that there's different toggles that you can play with to control. So if I increase the radius of that liquify point, you can see that's changing live, right? And then finally, as I mentioned, because we're augmented reality ready, you have a preview here on the right, and I can actually try how this different effect of different people. And even better, sometimes I like to do this, I can press this camera button and I can actually apply it to myself. And so if I select this object, I can resize it and I can see what's happening in real time. So that's really amazing. I'm going to put it back here in the preview panel. And some things that you might also want to do, again, because we're really interested in making it easy for people to make experience and consume experience, you can try different hardware as well. So definitely recommend you trying this out. If you have Lens Studio already available open, feel free to try this out. And by the way, if you're in a project, you can press File, Close to Home, and it'll bring you back to that main page, right? So we have all these different templates, as I mentioned earlier. I can press all templates to see all the possible different templates that we can play with. And for me, and for what we just did, we used the Distort, just jump back in there. So feel free to try it out. I'm going to play around with it a little bit, and I'll pause. And then Caitlin, if you see anyone say anything, I can feel free to jump in there and help. I'll keep the video out. I'll just turn your audio on. And so if you all see a mysterious voice, that will be Caitlin talking.
Got it. Sounds good. Hey, John, you actually cut out your audio. Take
Yeah.
your back.
Actually,
Okay.
I wanted, thank you, Kaylin. That's a really great call out. I was just playing around with Lens Studio, giving others the chance to play around as well if they want to. But so here's my lens. I think it's a completely different lens experience than before, and I actually didn't bring any assets, so that's pretty fun. And I can go ahead and select a different object, let's say phrase stretch, and I would have a different option here. So now I can drag my face here to be more square. So that's pretty cool. And And we also have, as I mentioned earlier, face inset, which allows you to copy and paste different things. So here we have the mouth to make it bigger, and I'm gonna put it up here, or maybe I'll have two mouth, or I want to make the mouth bigger. How's that? And I'll try that on my face real quick. So that's pretty fun. I didn't do that much work, but now I have a completely new augmented reality experience. And here on the left, we can start to add different things into our experience. And so let's start with the liquify that we had earlier. I wanted to add another liquify. I can go ahead and type in liquify here. Or you can see, I want to do meshes or face effects or spectacles, our 3D, our glasses that can record in 3D because it has two cameras, and you can create effects that bounces off the walls or understands 3D. And so we'll go to face effect here and add face liquify. And now I have this other liquify, and I can move this around as I did before. So let's make my nose a bit bigger. I only want one of these, so I can delete the other one. I can right-click, press delete, select the object again. Now you can see my nose is bigger, so that's pretty cool. So that's pretty fun. I think I saw somewhere up there someone was asking how do you get different assets that you might. We have several buttons here, so if you wanted to add a material, we have this material library which will allow you to try different effects if you have a 3D object, and we'll go through that in a little bit. We have a button here for Giphy that allows you to import GIFs from the internet. And you can also, as I mentioned earlier, bring in, so I'm going to close this out here, bring in different assets. So let's say earlier I have a 2D image, I can just drag that in. And I can bring in a 3D object. So in this case, I have an FBX. I can bring that in, and it'll ask me how I want to import this, and can press import. So those are some really fun, easy way to bring in your assets. Just drag them in. And so if I wanted to add these objects into the scene, all I have to do is, hey, I'm using an image, so I can go ahead and type in image, and I can see the different option here. I can press face image, and you can see now there's a position, face image, and I can go ahead and bring that background into that face image. And so you can imagine here, I put a card on the head, and you can say different things on it, right? Or if I wanted to bring my 3D object in the same way, I can just drag. In another way, I can drag from the resources panel to the objects panel. And now we have our character here.
Hey, John, as you go through all of the showing all the cool new features, or not new features, all of the features, maybe you could speak a little bit slower so people can follow along.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you for the call out. And so what we're doing right now is we've added the 3D character. So I drag into Lens Studio, and once it's in the library in the resources panel, I can drag it into the objects panel, and that will allow me to have it in our lens. But you might be wondering, wait, I don't see it in the lens. Well, it's kind of a little big, so you have this camera that shows you what the lens is looking at, right? And so I can select these different options here at the top, tool, and I can resize it. And then I'll move it backward here. So here you can start to see our character, and it's animating us as well. It's using, when you import an FBX, you can have animations, using your regular Cinema 4D, Maya, and so forth. So I can go turn on autoplay here to make it a bit easier for us to see. And now we have our character here. And one thing that we can do to make it more augmented reality, we can go ahead and click Add New again. And I want to bind or place this character on the head. So I'm going to go ahead and click Head Binding here. And I'm going to mark under that head binding. So it's a child of the head binding. And I can select this head binding here. And you'll notice that my face index is 1, but really I want it on the first person with many. So it's just 0 index. So I can put it at 0 here. And so now I have it attached to the first face, And I'm gonna zero this out. So this is just the position, right? You can see here on the left, it's a position. So I select, again, I select an object on the objects panel. I can move it around in the scene panel here.
Sorry to interject again. Are you able to move in, maybe like reduce your preview screen and make the object panel, inspector panel, resources, everything you're clicking within bigger?
Sure.
Cool.
We'll try that. How's that, everyone? Thank you, by the way. This is super helpful. I can't see the other side of the screen. So if you have any issues with the AV, please let us know in the chat, and Kaylin can ping me to let me know.
I think it's fair to make the preview screen smaller too. It's just like a third of the screen. And I think it's more important what you're doing in the tool rather than how it looks at the end of the day.
Awesome.
Cool.
How's that? Is that good?
Better. Thank you.
Awesome. And then maybe one thing I can do here will dynamically try to modify things. I'll try to make this a bit bigger for everyone to see. Can you all see that? And so, actually, I guess we need the preview, or else you won't be able to see the experience. So I'll just make it a bit small here. I'll put it right here. And you can do, these are just panels, so I can drag it out. So I dragged it out here. And I think I can also click help here in my panels. I can device stays on top. And so now you should see my phone just in the corner, whereas I can focus on the screen. So I hope this helps. Let me know if it could be better as well. And so when I was showing earlier, I had Mark now, this 3D object. As you can see, it's behind the head now, so it's not showing up here in my scene, but it's attached to the head binding object, which will allow you to have the character attached to the face. And so we're getting a bit and into the nuances of the tool, but I just want to show you some of the flexibility and how easy things are once you have your own assets and whatnot. But we'll get to playing around with more templates in a second. And so we'll go back to bringing this character in. Now I have my character here, and I can play autoplay. And now if I go back to my camera feed, you can see that's attached to my face. Okay, so let's close out of this. We went through the distort template there. And we can also play around with other templates, such as the segmentation. And so segmentation is another fun template which will allow you to do multiple things really easily without having to worry too much. So here I have my, my device, and I have here again on the right side a control of what I can do. And so I can choose colors. So I can choose green here if I wanted to. And I can turn off or on image, if I have an image going. So I think there's some example textures here. So I have the space background. And I can drag that to the image texture. And now you can see that the space color is scrolling across the screen. And maybe I don't want that to happen. I can turn off tiled, so there's only the space once, right? So now that we tried a new thing, I'm going to pause here for a second to let any questions come through as you play around with the software yourself. And so now I hope that you're all able to see this different experience. And by the way, if I'm going fast or going too slow, or you'd love to hear something else, please let us know. And then I'll also jump in here.
John, can you show like how you got into this segmentation template again? I think there's two ways, and through file. Is that true?
That's a great point. So there are different ways that you can play around with Lens Studio or access the new template. So I can select File, new project from template and select face, and you can see all the different ones related to face or world and see all the ones related to the world. Or I can select all and I can see all the templates that we have. And so this specific one, the one that allows you to cut out the background, I'm using the segmentation template. So I go ahead and press segmentation. It's asking me, do I want to save? We haven't done that much, so I'm going to go ahead and press don't save. And it'll open back to the Lens Studio page. And I can also, if I go File, Close to Home, this will bring me back to what Lens Studio first started, which is the templates page. And I can click all the templates here and see templates as before. And I can get a preview for each template. I can get information as well. So if I press Learn More, it'll give me a pop-up, give me a brief description of the templates, and it'll show me some complexity and what's related to. There's also a button here for video and guide. So as I mentioned earlier in the slide, we have templates, guides, and videos for each template. So I can go ahead here and jump to the Lens Studio website, and you can see that there's a video here that will play how you may want to play with the template.
And in general, it's always helpful, I think, because of the slight lag too, it's always helpful to go slower as possible.
Sounds good, Kaylin. Thank you. I will go slower as well. It's as you all know, it's a bit hard when you're live streaming because I don't get to see your lovely faces, so I don't actually know how you're all feeling. So really appreciate the comments. Caitlin, a few others are monitoring the live chat to let me know how this should go. So I really want this to be an experience for you. So just let me know how you want this to go. And the other thing I'll say while we're here on the Lens Studio page, we can go to the Learn section here. And so there are different guides. So if you miss something, so earlier I talked about the 3D face reconstruction. You can see that there's a guide on how to use the face reconstruction. I can go to the APIs to learn about all the scripting APIs that you can do. And then there's the shader stuff as well. So let me know, or let us know in the live chat. We're going to go through several more templates. But it'll be helpful for us to know what you're interested in as well.
And the other interest in hand gesture tracking, or at least hand tracking.
Awesome, hand tracking. Okay, so we'll finish this up. We'll go finish the segmentation, and then we'll go to hand tracking. How's that? Because the other thing that I want to show here on this website that's really helpful. I know there's so many questions. I love how many of you are on the live stream. I unfortunately cannot answer all of them, but if you go into our forum section, there's a general area here, and you can ask your question here, or you can ask in any of the subforums. And Kaylin and I are checking this forums all the time to make sure that we answer everyone's question. And we actually have some of our community members writing their own tutorial. We share our example project here. So, if I want to learn about generating a random tile of question, I can go ahead and do that. And so, yeah, just feel free and learn from the community or ask us how you can try different things, and we'll be happy to answer them. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go back here and jump into Lens Studio. So Lens Studio here, we're back again into the template page. And so I'm going to close this out. We have the different templates. We'll jump back into the segmentation from earlier. And so this is what we saw earlier. We have our preview here. We have our segmentation controller. And again, you select things in the objects panel and you modify things in the inspector panel. And so in the segmentation controller, I played around with the color here, right? So I just choose that pink color. I want to make it maybe a red or black. and I can increase the opacity of that color. And we also played around with the image texture here. So right now it says heart. I can go ahead and click heart here and choose a different texture that is found in my resources panel. So maybe I'll put the space background from earlier. And I can blend it as well with the screen, right? So just play around with the different options and you can see what you can get. So I can make it a bit more dense here, make it scroll a bit faster, and now we have kind of a sparkly effect. And I'm gonna make the scroll speed 0, and now I'm scrolling through the sky. And so what we can do also is that there's this thing called pose effect, and that allows you to add more colors on top of your lens or change the lens color. And I can select this object. So once I've enabled the pose effect option, I can select that checkbox to enable and disable things. And I can select the pose effect texture field. So you just select the field. And I can press add new. Anytime there will be an add new buttons around these different panels. And it will allow you to control the screen. Or control what you put into that field. So I'm going to add a different color correction texture. So maybe I'll do here Miami. I'll select Miami, and now you can see my background has changed color. And so if I use my camera option here, so you can see, and I'll lower the alpha so you can see my background. You can see now my background looks like Miami. If I turn this pose effect off, you can see that it's just my wall, which starts white at the top and goes down towards darker. So the color effect is making it seem like it's changing from purple to from pink to purple. So that's pretty cool. And so I'm gonna pause here to let you ask questions about the segmentation template. So I'm gonna press don't save here, or I'll stay here for a couple more seconds. So if you have questions about this template, I can answer them. I'll play around as well while we're waiting. I'll turn on the opacity here. So that's a pretty cool effect. It looks like my star field is now melding into my background. It would be more helpful if I have something back there. Unfortunately, it's a white wall. But as I mentioned earlier, we can try it on different things. So here we can go back to our preview. And I can even flip the camera, switch to back camera here. And there's a preview of the world. So in this case, you can see we're at the beach, or I'm facing a brick wall, and you can see how the effect changes there. So I'm going to go back to that person preview, by the way. So now we're at this person, and I mentioned earlier you can change the texture. So I can select the pieces that says edit me. So I'm going to select this that says edit me. And I can change it to go with hair and shoulder, and I can continue to change this. Hey, Caitlin, while you're listening here, I know you have some slides for the official lens creator, so I want to give you time for that. So let me know when you want to jump in, and we can go back into it. Otherwise, I'll keep going. So let me know what you want to do.
Sure. There was one quick question related to segmentation, and they were wondering how they can add 3D objects in the background.
3D objects in the background. Awesome. So that's a great question. So you can see, well, first, as before, we'll bring in our 3D object, right? Or if you want primitives as well, or squares, spheres, and whatnot, as always, you can press Objects, Add New. So you want to add a new object, and I can scroll here to Meshes. Here I have a sphere. So awesome. Now I have a sphere, right? And I can resize the sphere. So I'm going to move it.
1 second. Honestly, I don't even see where you're adding the new sphere. It might be literally showing in the stream right now.
So Caitlin, you'll be a little bit delayed, but
Okay.
our voice will delay at the same time as the video.
Good to know.
And so, so we're all learning something new together. This is great because we're all in different places, so no worries at all there. So now I've added a new sphere. And let's see here. how can I zoom in? I can try to, here, I'll zoom in here, since we're not using the preview for now. So I'm going to move around my screen to hopefully help. Okay. So now I've added add new sphere, right? So I can go ahead and type in sphere here. Or let's add a box here. I can add a box. So now I can move it in front of the camera. So now you see our box here. So now we have a box. And we have a sphere, right? And what I can do is there's these different cameras rendering the scene. So I have this orthographic camera. So orthographic camera means that the camera will not have a perspective view, so things farther away looks the same as if it was close. There's a camera mask, which is what we want to put, because we want the objects to be behind our character. We want to mask the object with our character. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this under the camera mask. And you'll notice that the camera has these colors on them. And this is the layer that that camera is rendering. So here is a yellow layer. So I'm selecting the yellow layer. Oh, whoops. And here, all I have to do is select this color and choose the yellow layer as well. And so I'm going to turn off the box so we can see what's going on here. So I have our sphere, and I can resize the sphere, and you can see that the sphere is now masked to the face. And so if I go ahead and select that different segmentation texture from earlier, I can again go ahead and check the background, and now you can see that the sphere is behind the character, and so is our segmentation texture. And so, I can do different things like change the hair. And now the effect is on the hair, and the sphere is in the hair. So I hope that explains a little bit of
I think
what.
there could be one last question before I talk about the OLC program. And it was like, how do you add your own custom script? Like, where would that go?
That's a great question. So scripts are great for interactivity. And actually, before we even get to the script, I'll show some interesting here. So I'll change this back to the background so it's a bit easier to see. We have helper scripts as well. So if you're not used to scripting, you can type in script here, and you can see there are a few helper scripts. So we have behavior is one of my favorite. And what behavior allows you to do, here to the right, so what behavior allows you to do is you can have different options for how you want things to happen. So here we'll zoom in here. We have the behavior. I can go ahead and say on face event, and I can say I'm not open, and then I just give it a response. So if I wanted to enable or disable an object, so I just enable. I can make my target that sphere from earlier. So we put it under the camera mask. There's a sphere.
Also, John, awesome that you've zoomed in. It's really awesome. You can see all of the text a little bit easier. Can you move the phone to the top right corner of the scene panel so that we can see it while you're talking about the what's going on in the inspector panel?
Awesome. Thank you for letting me know. Again, let us know what's going on. And so now we see the phone in the top right corner. And so this is our lens. And we have our mouth open, face event mouth open, with the response time of set enabled sphere. Allow us to do is turn the sphere on and off depending on the mouth. And I can set this to toggle because I want to turn it on and off. And I'll use the camera so it's a bit easier to see. So I'm going to, now you can see when I open my mouth, the sphere comes on and off. There's different options as well. So I can do browse raise. And we'll go back to the preview here. And if you're tired of moving your mouth all the time, sometimes I get tired, I can select a video that has the preview as well. So we can go ahead and change this to mouth open. And then when the character opens their mouth, the spheres disappear. So that's pretty cool. And then let's get to real scripting. How would that look? As I mentioned earlier, we want to put that in our library, things we want to put in the scene. I can go ahead and click the resources panel. Let me move the panel here. So here we have our resources panel. And I can go ahead and click resources, add new scripts. And so if I double click on that script, you can see here that I have, let me move this around. We have a script here, and I can just type in JavaScript. So if I say print hello world, so this is my code. But you can see here that I don't yet have that hello world printing out. And the reason is we need to tell our lens that we want to use the script. And as I mentioned before, everything that you want in your lens is in the objects panel. So I can go ahead and create and add new, just an empty object. We don't need it to show anything. And I can drag that script. So I'm going to try to zoom out here so we can see what's going on a bit better. I can just drag that script into the inspector panel, and you can see that it instantiated the script, right? And now you can see in our logger, it says hello world. So that's pretty cool. So now I can refresh the lens. You can see hello world.
I also think one last question before I guess I should hop on with the 7 minutes left. The one person asked of which JavaScript libraries can be used in Lens Studio.
Okay, so that's a great question. So Lens Studio does use regular JavaScript. One thing to know for all the technical folks here on the call, that some things that you use in JavaScript on the web are actually not part of the JavaScript specification. So you won't be able to use Windows or Canvas because obviously that's a HTML or Google web browser window, right? We don't have a window here in the Lens, but you will be able to use most other JavaScript library, and you can actually convert some of those library to use Lens Studio. So actually, if you go into our helper scripts again, so objects, add new helper scripts, we have this tween manager, and what tween manager allows you to do is move things around. So you can see this box is moving around, and I can I'll drag this to the top here. I hope you'll be able to see. I'll zoom in again. I apologize. So here we have our inspector panel, and we have our tween manager, right? So I'll move this around here. We have the tween manager. We have some objects there, and it's changing some options like, hey, I'm moving this box from to some position and end position. And I can go ahead and see how this works because it's just JavaScript. And I can double click these scripts. And what you'll notice is this script is actually just the tween.js library. And so we grab this tween.js from similar to any other JavaScript library. And what we did was we created another script, tween manager, to interface that tween.js library into our Lens Studio. So you can take a look at that to see how it works. We've commented most of our scripts, so you can see resume a tween that has been paused. And so you could do a lot of different things with here. So does that answer the question, Caitlin?
Yeah, definitely. I know we could talk about Lens Studio and all the amazing things you can do with it forever. But I guess in the last 4 minutes, I should talk about the OLC program. And I think people have asked it in the thread, but there is a page on Scalenza where you can ask any additional questions. Jonathan also mentioned the forum as a place for you guys to ask your questions. And there will be another webinar that's a Q&A. But we're so questions you guys have and your different skill levels, just getting into all the things you can do with Lens Studio.
Awesome.
So John, I guess we want to go back to the OLC program. And
Awesome.
just for my understanding, does this cut out at 4 minutes? Like it literally will drop?
No, no, it won't. So
Okay.
we'll finish up as you need to. So I'm
All right.
here. I'm just trying to pull up here my slides. I seem to have lost it, so give me a second. I apologize, everyone. So I'm gonna go back here to the presentation. Um,
I was happy to see some people even ask like how they can find the usernames of some of the Indian OLCs just to see their lenses. In the deck that Jonathan's finding, we are going to be showing the creators in India, but to that point, I didn't include their snap codes. That said, you should be able to find them by searching their display name within Snapchat, within the Finder. So their names, I will say them, and I believe they're listed, so you can look for, well, uh, 3 of them there. 2 were just added this last month, so they're not quite official with the yellow star, although they're in the chat right now. So you'll be able to find them soon.
Kaylin, I
Awesome.
will place your video back on the screen because
Okay.
you're more important than me, and I'll go ahead and hide myself.
No way.
Thank
No,
you.
I couldn't cut into you because uh, the teaching of Lens Studio is probably the most exciting part, and I really didn't want to interrupt too much. But I do know people have questions about the official Lens Creator community. So, also fun fact: this is May is the 2nd-year anniversary of the official Lens Creator program. So it was made 2 years ago to really celebrate all of the amazing creations that you guys have been doing. So we have continued to be impressed by all that you create. You're using AR in ways we never imagined. So the official Lens Creator program was really built in order to help teach you, get you to the next level, and also foster a thriving community of creators. Thanks, John. I was going to say to go to the next slide, but it pretty much covers what I was just mentioning. So the
Okay.
official Lens Creator community is not a one-size-fits-all model. We're really interested in all that people are creating. The thing that unites all the creators is a passion for pushing the bounds of augmented reality. So you will find artists, designers, developers, students. I know Jagmeet on the line is a student himself, training to be a doctor. So there's definitely people all across the world. And actually, next slide, John, you can actually see a map of all of our official Lens creators. So we have 175 represented across 36 countries.
By the way,
I know that's,
Caitlin, if
oh,
I may
yes.
jump in real quick, if you look at your video call, you'll be able to see the slides as well, in case that's helpful.
Okay. I'm looking on the YouTube stream, so I hope it's, where do you recommend I look? On Google?
If you look on Google, you'll see the slides in real time as
Okay,
you to
then,
how you're speaking.
all right. Well, then someone has to let me know if there's questions now. That's the opposite to you.
Yeah,
But
I'll do that.
yeah, okay. So 175 OLCs from 36 countries, 5 of which are in India. It's really a wild, what I should say, worldwide effort. And I just really love the diversity of thought and creation there. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the OLC community was really made to support our creators and boost them to get to the next level. So the benefits for the program are really threefold. First, I'll talk about access. So not only do you get access to this world-renowned group of creators, you also get access to Jonathan and all the interactive engineers to get help with your problems. You get expedited support, expedited review. Um, every month we have an update meeting where we explain the latest and greatest offerings that Lens Studio and Snapchat has to offer. And you get bonus insights into all of the Lens creations, your audience, your stories. So you just get a lot of access to new statistics, people, relationships than before. We also offer boosted exposure. So with it, you get a verified account. You get the Snap Star, where you can customize your profile to include your bio, website, an email, and just show off all of your lenses in addition to highlights. So you can show how people use your lenses or stuff that you create for other brands and businesses. We also offer an ambassador program, which I believe Hardik is not quite a part of yet, but we're definitely looking at him talking about Lens Studio far and wide. So we help you teach others Lens Studio, just like Jonathan is doing today. And then the beta showcase. So as I mentioned in Access, you'll get the ability to see features before it's released, including all betas. With that, whenever we announce the beta, we usually send emails, feature your lenses in Explorer, Snap Camera, put it on websites, there's press releases. So all of your work is featured as part of that. And we try to attribute creators as often as we can and make sure the world knows that you created the work. And then finally, we also on occasion offer payments for what you've created. So every month we have what's called calls for creation, where I ask official lens creators to make lenses for certain holidays, and then we will pay them for their efforts if they're featured in Explorer and Snap Camera. We also offer introductions to brands, and we send sweet, sweet swag, which I know a lot of the official lens creators represent pretty often. I know the hoodie and sweatpants are quite coveted. All right, next slide, please. So now that I talked about some of the benefits of joining the official Lens Creator program, I also wanted to highlight, as I mentioned before, the creators on the call. So I know you guys were interested in following these amazing lens creators, and Persika and Monish are not quite verified yet, but you should be able to find Jagmeet, Hardik, and Akash, who are all just creating lenses in ways we never imagined. I love that. I mentioned before, Jagmeet's a medical student training to be a doctor by day, but at night, and I mean, he never sleeps. He's making plenty of lenses. Recently, he's got into the making games. And then Hardik, Persika, and Monish all work for Superfan together, but each of them have a unique purview process. So I'm excited for them to explore what AR means to them as part of the program. And Akash, although he's not on the call, I don't believe, at least as a moderator, he's an artist and developer who's been creating really localized lenses for India. And so I really appreciate his perspective as well. And if we go, I think, to the last slide of my presentation, I just wanted to highlight some of the reach that you can get. So I mentioned before the exposure as well as access to more statistics. So as part of getting a profile and being a verified account, you get greater insights into your lens. But in particular, you can see from Jagmeet's profile on the left and Hardik's profile on the right, they have reached millions, if not billions, of creators, and the time that people are looking at their lenses is just immense. And I think that really speaks to creating lenses on Snapchat, where we always open to the camera. And so it's highly augmented reality is used, I want to say, on average 30 times per day for our creators, an average daily active user. So we just have a lot more engagement on our platform, as well as reach to all the people that are using it, whether your lenses, which can appear in the carousel or within Explorer. So I think it's truly amazing how many people have been able to play with all of the lenses all of our creators have made. And I guess now I'm just really excited to see what you guys make. And if you have any questions, I don't know, Jonathan, if anything's come through, I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah, I
Thank
will
you,
also
Julie.
add.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
You're right. I forgot to unmute myself. Um, I was just,
oh
so
no.
what I was just saying is like the OLC community is something that's really close and dear to my heart. It's really amazing because um, they ask me questions about lens creation and lens ideas that I've never thought about before, and that kind of encourages me to go out and like try and figure out how to do that and help them out. And so I'm really excited, and we're all really excited to have you join us on this journey because it will really push the boundaries of what augmented reality can be, what lenses can be. Um, and you know,
I do
I
want to add. Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Sorry, John. I was gonna. A lot of people ask, or they'll reach out, saying, I got 1 million views. Can I be an OLC? And I just want to highly point out that it's not necessarily about the reach. I kind of wanted to call out reach here as uh, an effect of being an OLC, and it's not that they weren't successful before this. Um, but I really want to focus on how we're looking for creators that are just passionate about creation. They're trying different lenses whenever a new version of Lens Studio comes out. They're teaching others how to make effects. They're learning more themselves. I'm really interested in the collaboration efforts and how you guys help each other. And I think that is the true benefit of being a part of this community is how everyone's trying to help each other become better. So it's not necessarily about how many views you get. It's really how you might help the community and push AR to the next level. And I also want to add, now that I think about it, so we've had about almost 6,000 submissions. We get about 150 a week. We try to respond within a month to all of your submissions, but less than 1% at the end of the day have become official lens creators. So we do try to make it special. I'd love to invite everybody, but then it wouldn't be as special anymore. But yeah, exactly as Hardik just put into the thread. It's really about collaboration and not who's doing the best, but how can we all improve together?
Awesome.
Amazing. Can you also show the creator page so they know how to
Yeah.
submit?
Awesome. Is so we're back here on our Lens Studio. By the way, if you wanted to go have a quick way to get into Lens Studio, if you were in Lens Studio, there's this button on the left, um, and you can click the forum button, and it will open up our forum where you can ask us any questions. But if we go back to the Lens Studio website, um, we can go into the creators page, and you can see all the some of the our OLC's official lens creators and all the cool things that they're making. I really think they're quite amazing. Some things that I wouldn't think about myself. And we scroll down here to the bottom. There's a section here: become an official lens creator. Lens creators continue to inspire us. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that. That's amazing. Um, and you get some of our support, as Caitlin mentioned, and a verified account and so forth. So all you have to do is press the I'm interested button, fill out a couple things on this form, and then you'll be on your way to Caitlin's inbox.
And don't hesitate to reach out to the creators on the page. So you listed, I think, are 120 of the creators. We recently revamped our website and are still adding some of the latest additions to the website. But if you click into the profiles, some of them list either their website or they even list their email. Don't hesitate to reach out because again, it's just a very collaborative community. And so as far as I know, all of the creators are just passionate about helping each other. And if you mention how you are an aspiring creator and really excited to learn more, I'm sure they will attempt to help as well. So you have the forum, you have the Scalenza page, and I'm sure there's more places to help you. I know you have all of the OLCs on the call right now, but even if you see something you particularly like from a creator within their profiles, see if you get an answer. Because again, it's just a very collaborative community. All right. I don't know if that's it. Or Jonathan, you have more to add?
That's so awesome. Yeah,
I
thank you
think that's
for
it.
joining this hour with us. We're happy to answer any more questions. And as I mentioned, go ahead and jump on the forum and we can answer there. And I believe there's some more additional information on the hackathon page as well. So feel free to chime in there. Other than that, I think that's about it for me. We'll pause for maybe a couple more uh, seconds, and if there's no other lasting questions or anyone wants to say anything, we'll hop off. This has been so amazing to watch you all join us here and see what you're interested in, because it really helps us understand what we should do, how we can help you really push the boundaries of this platform and augmented reality. So thank you so much for your time and spending this time with us. We'll see you in the next webinar where we'll do office hours. So go out there and build your amazing lenses. And if you have questions, ask us on the forum or join us in the next webinar where I'll be happy to answer the questions for you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. See
Thank
you,
you
everyone.
guys. Can't wait to see what you create. Bye.